90s video. There was like trucks parked up and they were using the lights from the trucks to like illuminate the party, and there was like cute little tables and people were dancing and smoking and hookahing, and just the vibration was really high. The vibration was super high. It was such an amazing time. People looked good. I will say this. First of all, um, I think it's interesting that the men are the ones who were giving looks and the girls were just out here like I was experiencing seeing a lot of the same girl. Like it didn't look like any of the girls were, they all looked like they came from the House of Fashion Nova, and from from the House of Kardashian, and yeah. You know what? As a fashion person, I have to tell you, fall is one of my favorite times of the year because I love the ability. I think people show more personality in the fall, and you can rely less on your body. Like, are you cute goes into your whole presentation, not just if you have a big butt or if you have big tits or whatever the case is. You know what I mean? I think fall is such a time where you have to rely more on like the look that you give. Like, what's the good look out here? You can't just be out here just like chilling. Like, you got to give a good look. Anyways, so that was interesting until the police came through and decided. I just looked to the right and it was like a bunch of flashlights and it was time to go. Anywho, um, so no, I ain't get no sex on my birthday. Okay, since you asking, I did not. I'm not bitter. I'm just annoyed. But I will say this, I think it will be so much greater. Why are we even talking about this? Let's move on. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about ramifications of due to COVID, which is funny because I actually follow someone whose name I think is due to COVID. But at any rate, I was reading an article in the news. Now, I'm in New York City, and I think a lot of people, and maybe it's just me, but a lot of people seem to have disconnected from the news. I think a lot of people are now only grabbing sound bites from what they can find on social media. So, news to them is whatever social media says is news, which is damning because I think that there are a lot of things happening in our areas locally that we need to be attuned to so that this election year can really mean something and so that we know how to impact our personal worlds and also impact the world by and large. So, at any rate, the article basically goes into how crime, specifically shootings, there has been a 171% jump in shootings from 179 incidents to 486 this year in comparison to last year. Now, there has been a staggering 178% increase from the 220 people shot in the summer of 2019 to 612 this year. The number of homicides have also surged in the city, jumping 52%. Now, just when you thought that this crime was only affecting the hood, or that crime by and large in New York was only affecting the hood, here's some more crime statistics for you. But most major categories in crime have increased, with the exception of rape. Ladies, it is free for us to go outside and not worry about being the first thing that men want to destroy in our world. Men they tell the story that Eve is the one who ate the apple, but I really think that that's some shit that niggas made up and turned around to make it, to blame it on women. I'm almost positive that Adam ate the apple. There's no way. I just don't see it. I don't see it. Look at the material. Look around. Look around. Look around. The niggas don't know what to do with themselves. They don't know. They don't know. They don't listen. They don't know. All they want to do is assert their rage and their power over everyone. And so, yeah, let me keep going. Car thefts led the pack with 60% jump citywide. In August of 2019, cops investigated 644 car thefts, while in the month of August of 2020, they investigated nearly 1,100 car thefts. Now, in past interviews, I bet you most people don't even know who the New York City Police Department Commissioner is, but his name is Elie Che, and he has decided to beef up the streets with security, which means that the officers will be getting paid overtime as they leave their enclaves to come to the city to come wrangle you niggas in. And I saw that last night while I was out. It is some staggering news. It is some staggering news. You know, I think the discussion has to be had that there are more guns on the street right now than there has ever been. Now, let's talk about and reflect on the fact of, if you guys recall when COVID first came on, I'm not trying to start no shit, but people were buying guns. Because let's face it, homicides are going up in major urban areas, predominantly African Americans, right? We don't manufacture guns in these areas. More times than not, the niggas who have hands on guns are in no predicament to just walk into your local Walmart or your local Dick's and buy a gun. So where they're procuring these guns from? Let's go back to the beginning of the year where guns were being sold at record-breaking numbers. Where do you think those guns went? You think that they just flooded the hood with firecrackers? Oh, sweetie, if you really think that due to COVID just means that we have to wear masks, I want you to really sharpen your tools, if you will. Due to COVID, there is an increase in crime in our neighborhoods. Due to COVID, there is a increase in glizzies on the block, and I don't mean hot dogs, okay? Due to COVID, the same systems that are being set up for your kids, if you live in urban areas, which are oftentimes the public education system in these areas, are marred with the imbalance of the pipeline system. If you live in major urban areas, it's important that you note that the same system that they are putting in place for your child's education is the same system that they will use to choke your child in a couple of years when your kid is out there trying to get a job. So I know a lot of parents, aside from child, always a glitch, honey, always a glitch. But what I was saying was, because I don't want to spend too much time on this, and I don't want to sound like Keisha Cole, not to beat on a dead horse, but did you guys hear about Keisha Cole? We'll get to Keisha Cole in a minute. But if I could advise parents on anything as far as it pertains to, your kids' education right now, is do not rely on your local government to decide on how your kids should be educated in these times. This system is the same system that they will take and choke your kids and bar your kids from access to more financial freedom, to more job opportunity. I promise you. Get with other parents who have kids that are your kids' age and do a pod collective, if you will. Because you don't have to be limited by financial access. You only have to be limited by what you believe your resources are. And there are resources that are out there, and there is ability that is out there. Hit my jack if you need help, because I'm more than willing to help. But, I think as African Americans, whatever your, origin is, if your diaspora origin is African American or is African, I think we oftentimes are taught that we have to go it alone. Well, I don't know nobody else. So that's why you have to be involved in your kid's life. You can't just rely on this system to educate your child. You can't just give your kid a tablet and keep it moving, So Keisha Cole this week, she got into a little bit of hot water, and we're not even going in any kind of order, but yes, young Keisha Cole got into a little bit of hot water this week when she in fact had some things to say about a situation going on with Future and his baby mom, Eliza Reign. Now, apparently, Eliza was in court documents filed this week. Eliza was looking for something of about $53,000 a month, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to get this wrong. So, here we go. All right, chap. So, young Summer wrote, she wants $53,000 a month. Women like these are so disgusting and sad. I feel bad for this man. Where do y'all even find these type of women? Now, this led to some back and forth through the Instagram system, the Instagram hallways of announcements, and Eliza responded, first of all, Miss Galacta whore, nice music, but where's your brain at? I don't even like going back and forth with black women during times like these. Do you not? Oh, because if you don't, you could have just opted to not. You could have opted to not. It is your decision and your right. But I'm just saying, you could have opted to not. I don't understand where people say, I could have. But you didn't choose the could have. You chose this option. So let's go. But how are you speaking on a situation like mine when your man is doing the same, if not worse, than the person I'm battling at court? Instead of condemning me on a fake number, you should be using your platform to speak against this type of neglect of children and abuse of women. But I can't expect much from a person who condones their man allegedly playing the same type of games. Well, this kind of kept going, where eventually London on the Track, who is Summer Walker's man, his baby mama got involved and said, I'm so tired of Summer Walker using her voice outside a motherfucking song. If you don't have kids, don't speak on the subject. If somebody asks about what note to sing in or how to clean a toilet, it's your time to shine. But kids, nah. Okay, so then Summer ends the back and forth by saying, so first, let's stop dehumanizing people, blah, 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 blah. I'm not reading this whole thing. Second, cut the crap about speaking on black women. I'm all about my people, blah, blah, blah. It's my opinion. I'm entitled on here, blah, blah, blah. I will say this, Summer is very right. It is her page, and she does definitely have the right to speak on it in the way that she sees fit. However, I think I would caution her against the idea of, I've always been a woman who's going to err on the side of the woman. Only because I think a lot of times the man's perspective is often skewed from a place of power, which means ego is involved. Now, I think that women are often skewed from an ego too, but it's more of emotion, and it is, a place of hurt. And I think that you get to not so truthful places in terms of where the situation is coming from, but I do think that you get a lot of self-honesty in terms of feeling, right? Anyways, so this kind of sped into Dr. Dre's wife this week, also asking for a large amount. Now, do y'all